What's up, everyone? Welcome to the What's Your Five podcast, episode 9. All right. Today's episode is going to be pretty awesome as we are going to list off our top 5 actors of all time. Joining me this week is my good friend and the co-host of this show, Mr. Anthony. How are you doing, sir?
What's up, people?
So, I hope you guys enjoyed the last week's episode. I know it was a little niche as far as the fighting game music. I know it's a little like kind of deep in there as far as the subject matter was concerned, but I think it was fine. I think it was pretty it was very relatable. There was a lot of different like vibes, different types of tones. What do you think? I mean, I know, Anthony, you listened to it. I know you weren't there last week, but were you digging it? I know you're not really a big gaming fan, but how did you think of it?
Right. So, when I saw what the topic was, I was just like, this is like really obscure, and I'm just gonna like, I had to get through the editing, and I'm just like, whatever. Mm-hmm. I didn't have it because I thought it was gonna be similar to the other gaming episodes where I was like, I didn't know most of what you guys were talking about, mm-hmm. And there were some games in there I'm just like, I don't know what this is, but the essence of it was still music based, which I love music,
right?
And then actually going through the tracks and like, let me find this OST song and put it in, and I'm like, this is dope. Like, I've never heard this in my life. Mm-hmm. And even going through like some of the Street Fighter 2 tracks, mm-hmm. I was just like, it brought back a lot of nostalgia because it's not like I never played Street Fighter 2,
right?
But I never paid that much attention to the music. Like,
right.
There's some that you like more than others. Like, oh, okay, cool, Guile's theme. Like, oh, I like this board. You don't really separate the two. Like when you watch a movie, you're into the movie. You're not separating the music from it.
Right.
So totally. It was really cool that I got to separate the music from it and only listen to the music. Like, I've never heard this song without playing the game to be distracted. Sure. And like how awesome that was. So I've been kind of addicted to some of the selections of your top 5. And so I was just like, man, like I actually started downloading OSTs from games that I didn't even know. Sure. So I was just like, these songs are really good. Yep. And you know what? Props to the people who made those songs because some of them are pretty old. Mm-hmm. And, well, I say old, but it's relative, right? We're talking like 90s, early 2000s old. Oh, yeah. Uh-huh. And understanding that they had like kind of limited resources because you had to keep the file size low. Yep. And so, you couldn't get into deep detail with some of the songs. I'm like, they really made a lot out of what they were using. Like you can really make some jams with a keyboard. Yep. And I hadn't appreciated synth like that much since like watching Stranger Things. Yeah. So I was just like, man, like I enjoyed it a lot because there was so much good stuff in there.
Yeah, absolutely. It was just a good topic to have with John, and he and I have very similar backgrounds in that respect as far as playing, as far as the music and all that. So I'm really glad that I was able to reach out to him on that. So
he was also great. I really like watching him. I really want to watch his podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. Critical Art podcast.
A lot of personality. And what a cool room he has with those arcades in there. And
I know.
He has the altar of joysticks there. It was like, I was like, that's awesome. That guy's awesome.
He is just, Modern Extreme, he has all the arcades in the background, which are awesome. He's really good at woodworking, which again, when I first saw his videos was just really great. But then as I started to get to know him, I started to see more of his social media, Facebook groups, and actually talking to him. Such a down to earth type of guy. And when he was able to agree to do the show, I'm just like, that's so awesome. So I kind of little fangirl. I was like, but he was really a good guest to have. So
what about you? How's the DJing going?
Jerk. The DJ is dead. The record player, though, if you haven't taken a look in the background there, has changed. Well, other than the fact that my wife put a bunch of plants on there because she thinks
I was noticing the plants. I was like, well, it looks more pleasant.
No, I ended up getting a record player and a receiver and some bookshelf speakers for the office. I have the record player in the living room, which is nice, but the record player in here is more for personal listening, and it was really cool because I was able to get the record player for $50. It's a Technics, so I know it's like bulletproof, so it's
that's a good one, right?
Right. Yeah, I mean it's not like the DJ, SL1200s, the Mark IIs, but it's definitely a very good record player in the sense of automatic, able to put the needle on without having to touch it, all that type of good stuff, and the musical quality is
very
really good.
classy.
Very, very classy. Oh, and at this point, I'm totally ready to like get a bottle of bourbon and like just listen to some like jazz, whatever.
I still think you need to get some shag carpeting to go with that record player.
Yeah, I should. Right.
That's the way to do that.
I was for this episode, I was really, really tempted because if you guys haven't noticed, there's a album up there. It's Postal Service. I don't know if you guys ever listened to it. I love it. It's a little bit emo, but that's just me. But I was thinking about putting up the Saturday Night Fever soundtrack on the back just to have the album cover up there. But I'm hoping that as we record more and more, we'll have more album art. Hopefully somebody will pick it out and just be like, "Hey, I see that," or whatever. So it was really cool to do that. And when I got this all set up, I was super stoked and ready to go. All right, so top 5 actors of all time. We're looking at top 5 actors male. We will definitely be doing a female version of this exact same show, but obviously with females. But
I'm really glad that we narrowed it because I had a lot of trouble. The list was already hard with just the male actors, and then it was just like if we did all overall actors, it was just like I'm really glad we split the two. And it was weird because I was going to make a comment like, I don't know why the Oscars splits it. Isn't it just about the best actor in general? Like, why do they make it into two? Why are they separating the sexes? And I go through this list. I'm like, like none of these women are making this list. And I'm just like, we should separate it.
You gotta separate. I mean, like I said, I'm all for, equality and all that stuff. Don't get me wrong. It's too dang difficult, man. I mean, it is what you're 5. I get it. I know I set the rules and all that good stuff, but I'm telling you, it's just difficult. And so we split it up. It's easier. It's a little easier, but it's easier enough for us to kind of go through this. And the way I listed my 5 this time around was I based it on, it's going back to if you're on an island or if you're in space, you had a homie to hook up. You had 5 homies or 5 actors that you wanted to just hang out with, or whatever the case is. Who would those 5 be? Granted, of course, my number 1 would be Anthony, right? So aside from him,
wow, you did your list completely different than mine because I'm like, I didn't even think
about being stuck on this whole
island and being stuck with these people.
Are you doing this whole logical thing again, or based on
a little bit?
Gross. Oh my
God. A little bit. I may have done this thing where I put these 5 factors together based on acting range, believability, things like that. Had they played like a villain and a good guy, and what is the range? Like range was a big thing for me. Like, did I see him in a comedy? Did I see them in a drama? Did I see him in this? And then how believable were they in those? And how much do they blend? Right.
Right.
Because sometimes even a really good actor, let's say like De Niro or someone like that, it's always De Niro just being De Niro in different situations. Yep. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, he's always great to watch, but he's always De Niro.
Yep.
So
absolutely.
I don't know. All those things kind of played a factor for me.
I definitely thought about that too. And again, my list you'll definitely see that. But
for sure, my list was not whoever was the most entertaining, because then it'd just be all Van Damme. So I was just like, well, who is actually legitimately
Van Damme, because he spits hot fire.
It would be Van Damme, Jackie Chan, Van Damme.
So before we get into it, we got back to the hotel room, my brother and I, and we're I think it was after the wake. It was about maybe like 9 o'clock or whatever, and we're like, oh, God, we're tired, whatever. And on the hotel TV on A&E, no joke, right in the beginning, as soon as you see the knife or the sword cut the brim off the hat, I'm like, we are watching this all the way through.
And it was gonna be Bloodsport.
Heck yeah, it's
Like
gonna be Bloodsport.
sign.
Oh, it's a sign. And we're like,
It
well,
was
we're
Van
staying
Damme
up.
telling you everything's gonna be okay. Okay, USA. Everything be okay. You mean you're not gonna call the cops?
What kind of a deal? Oh man! All right, so yeah,
Instantly you forgot about everything, and they're like, "Rodel, we gotta go." You're like, "What? Somebody died?"
No, what? Say what? I gotta go to sleep.
It wasn't Van Damme, was it?
No. I mean Van Damme. No. So he was trying to be the best fighter he can be for Shidoshi. Okay, so let's and one more, and just to let you guys know, I'm actually ranking this one, just so you know, from 5 to 1. So let's put it at that. Mr. Anthony, I'm gonna have you start. So top 5 actors of all time. What's your 5? Started off with number 5, please.
Now I'm trying to think, like, is mine actually in order? And I didn't give it a lot of thought whether or not I actually did it in order. But we'll see.
You have an order, but go for it.
All right. My number 5 is Jamie Foxx.
Oh, all right. Okay. I like it.
So real quick and to the point, because we had a long intro.
Yep.
I think Jamie Foxx is underrated for a couple reasons. Number one, he's great at doing impersonations.
Absolutely.
This is besides the fact that I think he's a good actor. But I think, like, when you look at his contributions, like Ray, and I'm trying to think what he played in Just Mercy, the convict dude, the soloist, so many. Collateral, he was great. He really got lost into that part. I actually even like Tom Cruise in that part as well. I just think they worked well off of each other.
Yep.
And they were both very, very believable in that one. Jamie Foxx has done comedy.
Yep.
He has done action.
Yep.
He has done drama.
Yep.
Your boy can sing.
Boy can sing. The boy can sing.
I'm not sure there's not anything that you could throw at Jamie Foxx that he couldn't do. He's up to play Spawn in the McFarlane Spawn one if he can get it off the ground.
Oh, I hope so.
And I think he's a great choice for that.
Yep.
Not Michael I just think he has a lot of range.
Yeah.
He's almost, a lot of people throw merits to Will Smith, who I do like, but Will Smith is always Will Smith.
Yeah.
And there's just different versions of Will Smith. And one of the comparisons I made between the two was that I thought about Jamie Foxx playing Ray, which I think he won the Oscar for, and Will Smith's Ali.
Right.
Which you watch Ali, and I'm like, that's Will Smith playing Muhammad Ali.
Yep.
Versus if you watch Ray, you're like, if after a while in the movie, if you're into the movie, you're like, you forget that that's Jamie Foxx.
Sure.
And that's what it's all about. When I watch Collateral and things like Miami Vice sucked, no matter who was in it. It was just a bad. It was just a bad movie
all the way through. Oh yeah, it's horrible.
Colin Farrell I like too, but I was just like, this movie's just boring. Yeah. But that didn't stop him from doing a good job in it.
Right.
Another bad role for him was when he played Electro in Amazing Spider-Man, but it was just poorly written.
Well, I think that they're giving him another chance because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the next Spider-Man movie he's actually going to be Electro, I believe.
What?
Or yeah.
Wait, so he was Electro in the Andrew Garfield one, and you're saying he's going to be Electro in the Tom Holland one?
If I'm not mistaken, yes.
Where did you hear this?
I was looking at the news the other day. It was on Twitter.
Oh, well, it was on Twitter. I mean,
which is the truth.
Where did
it
come from?
Truth. Twitter. It's not fake news. That's what I hear. But Jamie Foxx is a great. You know what? It's funny. I feel terrible because I should have had him on there on my list because he is a great actor, beautiful voice, good range of just up and down. Whether he's in comedy or drama, is believable. He doesn't play a particular one note character. He's always we just talked about with De Niro. De Niro's not to say that De Niro's a bad actor. It's just he's De Niro as playing somebody else. I mean, what was the last movie that De Niro did?
The Irishman.
Yes, right. And it was just him being. I mean, I just remember
De Niro doing the De Niro thing.
Right.
The same for Pacino. Pacino
Pacino,
I think
Pesci.
they're
Yep.
all great actors, but they're
Yep.
great at being believable in the parts they have versus
Yep.
making a part outside of their range believable.
Right.
I even give some credit to Jack Nicholson when Jack Nicholson did The Departed.
Yes.
I was just like, wow, like he is good.
Right.
But I know it's Jack Nicholson. You don't mistake Jack Nicholson. You can look at him in The Shining and you're like, that's Jack
Jack Nicholson.
Nicholson acting crazy.
Yeah. Or
But it's still
Batman.
Jack Nicholson.
Yeah. Or Batman as as Joker. Like it's still Jack Nicholson. It's just I get it.
Being
So
the Joker.
this is
Yeah, that's the big difference for me. Do I see it that it's this actor playing this character, or
right.
do I just believe it's that character?
Gotcha. Good deal. All right. Good. Good number 5. That's definitely something that I should have known. I should not, or I didn't. But good deal. My number 5. One of my all-time, favorite actors actually is. I mean, again, just to kind of just get to it, right to the chase. Number 5 for me is Denzel. Denzel Washington. Denzel is pretty dope, right? I mean, he again, if we're going for range, his range has definitely went up and down. Now, granted, young Denzel, like Ricochet Denzel, I mean, he was just kind of, Nick Styles,
Yeah.
really, really great acting. But I think one of my favorite roles from him was Remember the Titans.
Oh, okay. I was really curious to hear what you were going to say there. Remember Titans is great.
Yeah, Coach Boone, him as Coach Boone was fantastic, and it felt very natural for him to be a figure such as he was as Herman Boone, and teaching the kids and playing football. Another, of course, one of his all-time best roles was Training Day, which came just right after.
Oh yeah, that's the one everybody gives him. They laud him for that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but I mean, but the thing is, the reason why Training Day was such a big deal was the fact that Denzel was always playing a person that was very powerful, very main character, very very dramatic in the sense of being the main guy, or a very leading actor or supporting. Then you get Alonzo Harris, who's like the villain, and you like to get wet, and you're just like, ooh, man, like what's Lonzo going to do now? Like, oh my God, what's going to happen? But sexy man, sexy actor. I mean, telling you, man, he's definitely one of my favorites. And I think he also did Fences, that I really liked as well.
I forgot about Fences, which
Fences,
was based on a play. Yeah,
right.
He was actually very good in Fences. He had those really long, drawn out monologues that he had to deliver in that movie, and it was like he would ramble through it, and I really believe like this character that whoever it's based on, this dude could talk.
Sure.
And I'm like, because I never heard Denzel give such long-winded speeches before. And playing this character, he would just like ramble, and I'm just like, yep, this guy was full of crap, and he was nailing this. Whoever this guy was, I felt that he was that guy.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because it didn't seem very Denzel-ish to me.
Right.
So really like Denzel in Fallen, and I really liked him as Malcolm X.
Yeah, I mean,
I bought him as Malcolm X.
I liked him as Malcolm X. I mean, again, I'm not,
Man on Fire is probably my favorite though.
Man on Fire was awesome, and my favorite line from Man on Fire was, "I wish you had more time." And then it just, so I thought that was pretty dope. Good deal. So that's my number 5, Mr. Washington, Mr. Denzel. Ooh, Denzel. So
he was on my honorable mentions list. That's what I was trying to think of earlier. That he was on my honorable mentions.
Gotcha. I think you gotta put the drink down. No.
What's that? Take another drink?
Take another swig. Well, sure, why not? It's not a big deal. Actually, I'll take a swig of my.
I couldn't remember 2 words. Honorable mention.
Honorable mentions. Anyway, so number 4, Mr. Anthony, how goes it?
My number 4, who I'm thinking 75% is not on your list.
75%, huh? That's pretty. It's pretty bold and brazen to say, but if it's Van Damme, you are definitely wrong. Go for it, cowboy.
Christian Bale.
Ooh.
Is he on your list?
No, he is not.
Didn't think so.
And I'll tell you why. I think this goes back to the whole, we shouldn't be bringing personal into acting, but I actually kind of feel, to be honest with you, I think he's kind of one note. everything I've seen him in, he's just kind of like this, like flat, kind of guy.
One note,
One
Christian
note.
Bale. One note.
Where is he? He must have friends.
What are you talking about?
Okay, Equilibrium. And
Equilibrium, which got him the Batman role.
Yeah. All right. And then
The Fighter. Okay, The Fighter. Okay, I've had friends literally who were meth heads. He nailed that part. This guy played a meth addict like nobody's business. He was exactly like one of my friends who did meth.
Wow.
A lot of older people are going to bring up The Machinist, obviously, where he lost all the weight, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. I don't delve too much into that. Yeah, the body transformation, show dedication, and all this.
Mm-hmm.
He was great in that. Okay, Equilibrium was good. American Hustle, where he put on weight. He played Cheney.
Hated.
He does all this stuff. But if you really want to know why I think he's fantastic,
tell me.
The real reason is because every time I hear this dude speak in real life, I'm like, he has an accent? I always forget that this guy is not American. He has the thickest accent from wherever the hell he is from.
Are you and sure I'm just Colin Farrell? Colin Farrell has the guy
Farrell as well.
Oh man, he can do that. But anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead, continue.
I'm just saying, and I know he's known for his little tirade from I guess when he did Terminator and all this, but I don't know. I think he's really good. I don't think he's great in every part. I don't think that everything he does is gold. But I think when he really commits to something, that he's exceptionally well. I feel he blends in, and I feel he really tries to become that character.
I mean, yeah. I mean, not to say
the boxer really put me over the edge for him because I was just like, that does not seem like Christian Bale to me.
Like I said, I'm not discrediting the fact that he's he has great movies. I mean, I think one of my favorites that he did was The Prestige. That was a movie I actually really enjoyed.
Well, it was Nolan, yeah.
Right. I mean, Nolan movies are great. But I mean, it's just, I don't know, man. Like everything that I watched them in, I mean, again, you got Equilibrium, you got Batman, you got
awesome.
You got Prestige, and then like I said, American Hustle did not like at all. I thought that was a terrible
I wasn't in love with American Hustle, but I did like what he did in American Hustle. I'm not gonna say that I watched American Hustle like, oh, this movie's great. It wasn't. I actually thought it was kind of boring. There was some interesting things in there, but overall I didn't care. But
did you watch American Psycho though?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so
Huey Lewis in the News and whatnot.
I mean,
you didn't buy him as a sociopath?
I can definitely buy him as a sociopath, but I mean, again, it's just kind of like the same drawn out face. I mean, it's kind of like the horse thing, right? Like, wide long face type of deal,
Yeah.
But I don't know. To me, it's not that it's not believable. It's just I feel like he does kind of, if not the same character, like how some actors do. That's just my opinion, personally. Please don't kill me.
What about Reign of Fire?
I can't say I remember Reign of Fire.
You didn't see Reign of Fire?
No, I don't think I've seen Reign of Fire. That's the Dragon one? Yes? No?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, it's Dragon one.
I'm not I don't disagree with you that much. I don't think that Christian Bale has ever proven himself like, wow, that was Christian Bale. Right. I don't think Christian Bale's ever done anything Oscar worthy where you can't believe like, wow, like how did he do that?
Right.
I do always think he's okay, you can identify that it's Christian Bale.
Right.
But I do think he gives 110% in almost everything he does.
Yep, absolutely.
And
I will agree.
I do think that his transformations are pretty good. I do think that when he puts his best foot forward, even in Equilibrium, which is sci-fi, futuristic, I found his character believable. Even if I didn't get lost in the fact like, oh, well, yeah, I know that's Christian Bale.
Right.
I do say, yeah, he fits in that situation well. And maybe that's a matter of him picking his roles well. Like, oh, I can pull that off.
Yep.
Although Terminator was very boring. I didn't really care about it. It was just like, okay, so he's John Connor. I believe him just as much as every other John Connor, so that's fine.
Right. I bet you, so with my number 4, I bet you will not have this person on your list.
Is it Andrew Garfield?
It is not Andrew Garfield. I will tell you that right now. My number 4, with no real introduction other than the fact that he's super awesome. We mentioned him on the show before, but he's, again, we actually mentioned this show in particular before, but is Bill Hader. Love Bill Hader
as an actor.
As an actor, didn't you think Barry was legit?
Barry is phenomenal, and yes, I bought him as this kind of
Really
awkward dude
weird,
who was a soldier and acquired skill and started to use that skill to be an assassin.
Yep.
Yeah, I buy all of that from him.
So I bought all of that.
That's all I have to go on for him.
So I'm a huge.
I mean, I've seen him in other stuff. I think he was in Trainwreck.
He was in Trainwreck. I mean, he did a lot of comedy stuff. He did a lot of the Judd Apatow movies, or he did some of the Judd Apatow movies. He did what was it, Forgetting Sarah Marshall. That's what it is.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't even remember he was in it.
Yeah. And so one of the things that I really enjoy about Bill Hader is, we were talking about Jamie Foxx being, kind of this like triple threat type of deal. I think Bill Hader, doesn't get enough credit for a lot of his impersonations. I mean, again, I'm a huge SNL fan, so coming from there and then seeing him being this goofy dude and kind of being this, again, this SNL actor, and then all of a sudden just comes into this show with Henry Winkler and just becomes this guy that's just a badass, but he's also just kind of like this quirky, awkward dude. And I think, to be honest, I really truly believe that Barry, as the character that Bill Hader plays, is actually the most like him in real life, I think. Now, granted, I've never met the guy before in my life, but I would think that because he's just kind of this quirky little dude, and I think he does a lot of impressions that kind of deflect a lot of things. He just kind of brings it out there. I've seen a lot of Conan interviews where he would just go and do a ton of impressions, or he would just go to like South Park and do voice acting with Trey Parker and just bust out in the character out of nowhere. It doesn't really like play himself. Like you only see him do it maybe 2 or 3 minutes out of an interview or out of a show, and then he'll just bust into some other character. He'll just do a lot of impressions. But I think that right there alone will give him a lot of credit to his acting skill, just because of those impressions alone. It looks like his let's see, what else he do? He did a lot of what did he do? He did Finding Dory, did a lot of voice acting. It's a lot of good one stuff there.
Didn't even know he was in that. I remember Ed O'Neill was in that, and Ellen, that was about it.
Inside Out, he was Fear.
Didn't know he was in that.
He was, man, terrible.
I mean, when you're talking about actors, knowing that they're in something can be a bad or a good thing.
Yeah.
Because if you don't know, that just means they blend in that well, or they can change their inflection that well that you didn't even recognize them.
Yeah. He does a lot of he does, like I said, a lot of voice acting, a lot of impressions.
Man, I did not know he was in Inside Out. I really like Inside Out, and I didn't know he was the one that played Fear.
Yeah, he played Fear, and then you kind of hear it, but again, there's a lot of different voice acting, and he does a lot of characters for Bob's Burgers. That's one of my favorite like animated shows of all time.
Yeah, I think maybe I don't have the appreciation because I probably have not seen most of the stuff he's done, and I probably seen a lot of his stuff and didn't know it was him. Because if it's voice acting, I'm not gonna know.
He was in one of your favorite movies, by the way. One of your favorite movies of all time. Tropic Thunder.
Oh, you remember him in Tropic Thunder?
He was the studio executive. At least about him, according to reading this.
Don't even. Oh, he was the one worked with McConaughey, I think, right?
Yep. And then he also was in Superbad as the cop, which he was awesome.
Oh, geez, haven't seen Superbad in like ages. But yeah, they're like, come on, kid, McLovin. Yeah, we didn't buy that for a second, but we just want to be the cool cops. Exactly.
Superbad, Forgetting Sarah Marshall, all the good Judd Apatow stuff. But he's one of my favorites. I think that he has those impersonation ranges, and again, Barry just kind of topped it off. And when I was looking at my list, I was like, okay, maybe could he do it? I'm like, yeah, he could. I can watch him do anything, and it would be gold to me. And he'd be somebody that I'd want to hang out with, like outside, or by ourselves or whatever. He'd crack me up every single time.
Do you think he could ever win an Oscar?
Ooh, yeah, I think so. Why not?
I asked this because I'm thinking about Barry, which I know him the most from.
Right.
And the great thing that he does in Barry is that he has this ability to switch back and forth. He switches from this kind of naive, quirky character to like a kill machine.
Right.
And when he does that, depending on which episode you look at, and I have a specific episode in mind where he just goes into utter kill mode, and his eyes go dark, and he is killing everyone in the building, and there's nothing comedic about it, unless you consider it dark comedy. I don't know, but what the point of it was that he switches from one personality to another, and I buy it. I really buy it. Like, he goes into this room and kills this guy that he knows intimately, and shoots him, and you can tell he's not even registering who it is. Right. That this is a person he knows. And he snaps out of it later, and he's just like, oh, I killed that guy. Yep. And I was just like, wow, like, and that is the actor's job, to sell you on a concept, to sell you on a story. And in that moment, in that episode, which might have been the end of season 1, I totally bought like that he had just gone dark or blacked out, and like, I'm killing everybody here to get the job done, and then he comes back to reality later. Yep. And I really saw this dramatic side of him that was just like, wow, like, that was believable. It wasn't funny. It was like, I almost felt bad for him that he's able to do that. And he's done it maybe twice in the show, maybe 3 times in the show, where they've just kind of show him, you killed my friend, and I turned into this different person. But other than he's lovable. Right. And I thought that was great about him. I can't attest to anything else he's been in, because I honestly don't remember much of anything else he does. But in Barry, that switch that he makes is very impressive.
Absolutely. Yeah, he's definitely...
so much respect for him.
Absolutely. So
couldn't put him on my list because I don't have enough exposure to him. And from what it sounds like, I actually have more exposure to him than I would think that I do.
Yeah.
And I just never gave it much thought. But love Barry. Love what he does in Barry. I went to Barry season 3 and 4 and 5. And I know there's a lot of shows that are trying to clone Dexter, because Dexter was such a great show. Yep. And I think Barry comes the closest to nailing that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Okay, number 3. We're getting down to it. What do we have?
Okay, so my top 3 is legit.
Legit.
My top 3 is very serious. And if I'm being honest, I could take or leave Christian Bale on my list, and Jamie Foxx. It's like, you could probably bend me on that, even though I like Jamie Foxx.
All right.
But my top 3, I think, are serious contenders.
Ooh, I like it.
So my number 3 is the Hoff.
The Hoff?
David Hasselhoff.
Knight Rider.
No,
Michael Knight. You being serious?
No, it's Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Ooh, okay.
So
big ups.
Yeah. All right. I thought Philip Seymour Hoffman, for not being the most attractive dude, for not being the most in shape guy, was a phenomenal actor.
Absolutely.
This guy played comedies. He played drama. He played action. I bought him in everything he did. When I saw him in, like, Before the Devil Knows You're Dead, I bought him. He could seem menacing in Mission Impossible. And he's not a dude where I would think, like, you would be afraid of him. In Mission Impossible, when they were holding him out of the plane, and he's just like, you have nothing on me. And I'm just like, what do you do to this guy? Like, you could kill him and you'd still lose. And he sold me on that.
Yeah.
Watching him in Twister as this stoner. Watch him in Along Came Polly, where he's just this lovable goofball who used to be a celebrity.
Yeah.
There was nothing that he did not nail. And again, for a guy who is not like, he's not Brad Pitt, he's not this eye candy dude. He had to just carry it on sheer talent. Yep. And I think he did that very well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think Philip Seymour Hoffman, like, my favorite role of his was Mission Impossible. He was an amazing bad guy. Again, when you mentioned it, the whole plane scene where they were trying to, they're torturing him, like, you got nothing on me. What was it? Do it, Ethan, do it, because he knew who Ethan Hunt was. You were just like, oh snap!
Like, and he's collecting names. They're holding him on. He's like, oh, so your name's this, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm keeping track of who all of you are because I'm going to kill you later. Don't worry about it.
Man, so good. A movie that I've always wanted to watch that everybody says he is one of his best roles is Pirate Radio.
Never seen it. Never even heard of it.
Really? I think that's one of the movies that he's actually, that's like the movie. Right? That's,
I thought you were going to say The Master or Capote or something. I don't know.
No, I think it was it was a pirate radio that was
sounds like
really
the Christian Slater movie, Pump Up the Volume.
maybe, but I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it was pirate radio. The Count, 2009.
Yeah, I don't know it.
Yeah, I gotta. You know what? The Masters, yeah, it's definitely one of them. But I mean, um, he was in the Hunger Games, which didn't even know that. Which I
Yeah, I
never.
remember that.
I think that uh, you brought it out that Philip Seymour Hoffman had a really good range of what he can play, and he definitely, again, he wasn't the most prettiest dude. He definitely wasn't the most in shape dude, but he can definitely act his ass off. I'll tell you that right
Red
now.
Dragon, man, when he played the reporter in Red Dragon, and I
Mm.
just felt bad for him, and he had such limited screen time.
Yep.
And he's just like, I'm gonna get this story, and I'm
Yep.
gonna talk to this guy, and I'm just like, no, don't go talk to that guy.
Don't
And
do
he
it.
goes and talks to him, and he's
Yep.
just like, I think he's like strapped to a chair or something. He's about to get killed, and I'm just like, the fact that he had such limited screen time and I cared so much about the character was all because of the sincerity that Philip Seymour Hoffman put into the role. Because anybody else would have done that, I'd have been like, well, he had been on screen for 5 minutes.
Right.
So if he dies, I guess that sucks, and it's just a kill. Had it been a slasher movie, it'd be like, well, yeah, of course he's going to die.
Right.
But because he brought this level of gravitas to the role, it was just like, are they going to kill him? Is he going to die? Because he's legit. Like, you don't just kill legit actors off unless it means something, And yeah, sure enough, he dies in that movie, and I'm just like, wow, like he died brutally, and it meant more just because of the way he did it.
Right. One thing I totally forgot, and again, this goes back to your point about, the actor was there, but I totally forgot about it until I looked it up or I started looking at the filmography. He was in one of my favorite movies, Boogie Nights. He was the dude that was trying to get
yes.
Oh man, dude, I love that movie.
Sometimes you forget when they're not the main person and they just blend.
Yeah,
and you're like, you were that dude.
You were the dude that was trying to get with the Dirk Diggler. Oh
yeah, you were trying to get that Wahlberg.
Yeah, you're trying to get that inner Wahlberg, man, for sure. Yeah, so good choice. Definitely wouldn't have had that on my list. But so if
gotta say, totally bought him as being gay in that movie.
I know, right? So if you're gonna go that way with, you're going with the unattractive but super duper, talented as far as acting goes, I'm gonna go supremely handsome and can still act no less, Mr. DiCaprio. Number 3.
I knew it when you said it.
That was that pretty
when you
much
said really attractive. I narrowed it down to 3, and then you said can really act, and I narrowed it down to DiCaprio. I'm just like, I know where he's going with this.
DiCaprio, man. I mean, come on, he was Romeo, dude. He was Romeo.
You know what Romeo from? I remember that. I remember seeing that in a movie theater.
I remember seeing that in my 8th grade, English class. Miss Nudie, shout outs. She showed it once we were reading the play, and then she watched the movie. Then we watched the old school movie. We watched it like how many different times. But Leonardo DiCaprio, again, I don't know if he gets enough credit. Maybe he does. I don't know. But I mean, it's almost like a gimme, right? I mean, he's got to be on somebody's list just because he's played so many good roles. I mean,
can we talk about What's Eating Gilbert Grape? Can we talk about Catch Me If You Can? Can we talk about Revenant? Can we talk about Inception? Can we talk about Wolf of Wall Street?
Keeps going, man.
Django, which also had Jamie Foxx, and Jamie Foxx is great in that. They're both great in that.
So basically, the world's gonna explode. Go.
The movie I tell you, I watch all the time. Every time I'm on the plane,
I'm telling you, dude, is this Leo, man? That boy, good. That boy is good.
I believe him in everything, I think, and if I'm being honest, I think that I underrated Leo for a very, very long time because I kind of took him as, and this is even back with him with Tom Hanks in Catch Me If You Can, which I like that movie a lot,
right?
And I don't think I gave him enough credit for it because I think I was too busy paying attention to Hanks, what Hanks was doing.
Yep.
And I was just like, oh, this is a really good movie. It's really clever. It's really fun to watch.
Right.
And, I think when I watched that one, I would even associate, oh, that's the kid from Gilbert Grape.
Yep.
And Gilbert Grape, he was fantastic. But it's so long ago, I didn't remember because it's such a large space of time.
Oh, yeah.
And then when Inception came around, I really started looking at him. Oh, Shutter Island. Shutter Island was I was really like, wow.
That was a good one too.
Yeah, I was sleeping on Leo. I was sleeping on. I think a lot of people slept on Leo for like a long time.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like, who would have thought, Growing Pains Leo, man, would have just blew up like this, right?
I don't think I watched Growing Pains, but I did know he was on it.
He was definitely that was the first shot, and then it just from there it just kind of blew up. And again, you hit it right on the nail, which is you slept on him, right? I mean, he had all these different roles. He had Titanic. I mean, just like I said, the list goes on.
Didn't
man.
even mention Titanic.
You got Titanic. You got The Departed. You got all these different. And The Departed is probably one of my favorite Leo actings, aside from Inception. I loved Inception. It's such a good movie. Damn Nolan, I swear.
So good.
So good. And so he's played so many different roles, and when he when he got beat up by the bear, that was something else too. And I remember my buddies and I used to go to this deli in close to work, and we would go over there, and for whatever reason, every time we went to that deli, they would be playing The Revenant on DVD super loud. And it'd always be the part where him and the bear going at it every single time.
He's getting raped by the bear.
Dude, I swear, we walk in there, all you hear is blah, 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 and you're just like, no. And I'm like, dude, I really just want to eat my sandwich, or I just want to eat my curry. Can I just eat my curry? So it was just amazing. But I mean, again, it's a gimme. I know, and I'm not choosing him because. And again, by the way, he's number 3. It's number 3. But he's just such a versatile actor. He's such an amazing person, and you just believe him on everything he does. Like you just think that he's just he's not acting, he's just doing him. So that's
I agree, and I really don't think I looked at him under a microscope until Wolf of Wall Street. And the reason Wolf of Wall Street was such a pivotal moment of me giving him like a second look was because Wolf of Wall Street was number 1. It's like a biopic. It's like based on a real person.
Yep.
And I had to go back and look at who the real person was to know, like, is he nailing this? Is this what the guy was like, who was in prison at the time?
Yep.
And then Wolf of Wall Street was interesting because now you're talking about somebody who's basically a villain,
right?
But likable.
Yep.
But at the same time, like, there's comedy elements in it. Because like they're doing drugs and he's doing all these quote unquote bad things and he's stealing money.
Yep.
And you're just like, I can't stop watching him and what he is doing. And Jonah Hill was great in there too, right? But he was still second string to what he was doing.
Oh yeah.
And Jonah Hill was kind of one who sucked them in, like, hey, you want to go smoke some crack? It's like, what? What are you talking about? We're just sitting at a diner. You just invited me to smoke crack.
It's like, you want some Quaaludes? Like, you want some Quaaludes? You want some Quaaludes? And then you got to give it, this is what a Quaalude is. It's like, what? Crazy.
Yeah, I think Wolf of Wall Street was the one that's like, I have to go back and revisit the other stuff that he's done. Like, what am I not paying attention to here? Yeah. And that's when I was just like, man, he is, and Shutter Island, I really remember liking Shutter Island when I saw it. I don't think it's a phenomenal movie, but it was enough of a mystery. The first time you see it, everything is different after the first time. But I had to do a rewind, like, what just happened? Like, I thought it was this one thing, and I had to go back and rewatch him. Like, man, he killed this role. Like, I believed everything that was going on.
Yeah, totally. I think with his role in what was it? Wolf of Wall Street. It's funny that you mentioned because Jess and I are really big like nerds for blue collar crime. So we watch a show called American Greed, where it's like people that swindle people that swindle money out of people, and so it's all blue collar crime. I mean, some people get shot, but I mean, they did one on the Wolf of Wall Street, and his role and that particular guy, he was a straight douche, like this big time. I mean, like
sociopath, dude, doesn't care about other
people. I'm like, hey, you suck. Like, you're a terrible person. So I just thought that was kind of crazy, but
yeah. Lee was as Howard Hughes as well. I thought was very good in The Aviator. I thought was really well.
Yeah, absolutely. So
I thought him as losing his mind.
All right, sir. We are getting closer and closer to number 2. Here we go.
Oh, no, I just saved this a bunch of time because Leonardo DiCaprio was my number 2.
So what you're telling me is our last episode that we recorded, you and I, we agreed, I think, was it 1 or 2?
I think we had two things. We shared two things on the
Yeah, I
list.
think we share two things. Okay. Yeah. So, man, I swear we should do a giveaway.
We should see if somebody can guess one answer that's going to be on both of our lists and do a giveaway.
Ooh, I like it.
Can you guess the one answer that will be on both of our lists?
Yeah, if you could. Hey,
win a PlayStation 5.
No, because I can't afford that unless we get sponsored. By the way, anybody that wants to sponsor us, you guys are more than welcome. But
sponsored by PlayStation 5.
Yes, by Sony. Please give me a PlayStation. I got my pre-order anyway, so good deal. But yeah, I mean, Leo, man, I mean, how could he not be on the list? I'm telling you, and I think that
how could he not be?
How can he not? That's what I'm saying. He can't. How can he not be on the list? So I loved him in everything that he did. You know, he was a jerk, but really cool. And Catch Me If You Can. That was another movie. Actually, I watched that movie more recently than I did, or fairly recently than when it came out. And when I watched it, I was like, wow, this is like timeless, man. So I thought that was kind of cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was great.
It was a good deal. So I guess that brings me back to me then. Huh? So I'm going. So number 2, I guess for me. Now I'm wondering. I wonder if this is going to be yours, but
no, it won't be.
It probably won't. No.
My number 1 will not even be on your list.
Oh yeah. Okay, good. So here, my number 2 is somebody that is truly a kind of a nut job in real life, I believe, but he's actually a really great
like
actor.
Johnny Depp.
Kinda, yeah. Well, Johnny Depp is weird. He's more weird than he is nutty. Like this guy, who's number 2, my man, Mr. Tom Cruise, is pretty nutty outside of acting, my opinion. But it's number 2, Mr. Cruise. I know he's part of your favorite movie, Tropic Thunder, as the.
He's part of a lot of my favorite movies. I really love Tom Cruise.
I love Tom Cruise.
He's in my honorable mention list.
Yeah, I figure so. But
I couldn't break away from the fact that I always know I'm watching Tom Cruise. So that was the point for me. I think the one where he really got me was like the Les Grossman role. And
oh yeah.
Vanilla Sky was excellent as far as like me not so much seeing him as Tom Cruise, and I think that's because they mashed up his face.
Oh yeah.
So there's a couple of them that are like here and there. Like I forget. You know, I thought he was great in Collateral because he kind of broke out of that Tom Cruise-y mold where they try to make him perfect all the time.
Sure.
And I don't know if that's him that does that or if that's Hollywood that does that. Like, oh well, you know, you're Tom Cruise, you have to be perfect. I suspect it's more of a Tom Cruise thing, but
sure. I don't know. I just, one of the things that I really enjoyed about him, and again, he's like the quintessential hero, right? I mean, we talked about how MJ ruled the 80s. I really think that Tom Cruise really like put between was it Cocktail, Top Gun, Color of Money, like all those movies, I thought he was fantastic in. In fact, Top Gun is probably one of my favorite movies that he's done. Both comedically, but also just the believable character because he's just a jerk. But in fact, I had
I bought him as a vampire in an interview with a vampire.
Yeah, you bought him as he's definitely a vampire.
Like, but he is totally a vampyer.
Yeah,
that's why he doesn't age.
No. I mean, no, it's Scientology that makes him not age. But he's definitely the whole vampire thing. I mean, but Brad Pitt was also there too, which he's sexy beast.
Yeah, him and Antonio Banderas are all very sexy in that movie.
Yes, and then Kirsten Dunst, which I still think is it's probably one of the saddest scenes in that movie was when the mother and the daughter, and then they go into the sun,
turn to ash.
I'm like, oh. But yeah, I think that Tom Cruise, he has range in some respects. I think that he does play somewhat of a similar role, but there's kind of different variations on it, but there's also some versatility in there as well. One of my favorite series that he does, of course, you and I agree with this all the time, is Mission Impossible.
Yeah,
his Mission Impossible. I mean,
they all just get better and better.
They get better and better. I mean, I don't care what you say. And the first.
And props to Tom for doing his own stunts. I mean, It's only him and Jackie Chan, and very few who are at their age still doing their own stuff.
Yeah. I loved part 1 just because it made you think. You're just like, what's going to happen? Like, ooh, who's this? Or, oh, how is he alive? And all this other stuff. But, and I just watched, I watched Rogue Nation not too long ago, or, I was just like, man, so good. It was one of those movies
Ghost Protocol, Rogue Nation.
All the new ones. And I'm just like, I'll just put it on, and I'm like, what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? Oh, now I gotta download it and put it on Plex because I don't want to watch it with commercials. So like, let's go and move it forward. But Tom Cruise definitely has that. And he again with Tropic Thunder, which I again watched fairly recently as well, has that range as well to be kind of just he has all of that and more. And I think that hopefully with the new Top Gun that's coming out, it's going to be just as cheesy, but just as good.
You mean the Top Gun where he's actually learning to fly a jet because now he has to learn to do everything on his own to make it look more real?
Dang right. Indeed. Who's your number one? Stop stalling. Do it.
Gary Oldman.
Gary Oldman.
The ultimate chameleon, Gary Oldman, who has played so many different parts and range of parts and has been so believable in every part that he plays. He is the most underrated actor, and I don't know why he doesn't have an Oscar already.
Yeah.
The bad guy in Leo the Professional. Yep. He was in the last Gordon. Batman movies as
Commissioner Gordon. Yep.
Gordon.
Yep.
True Romance. He's a
Rastafari
in a True Romance. This is a British guy. What are we talking about? How do you not give him an Oscar for that alone?
I don't know, man.
Gary Oldman can be anything. Fifth Element, Gary Oldman.
Yep, he was definitely Fifth Element. Yep.
It's ridiculous that this guy does not have like an Oscar already.
He has plenty.
This guy can be anything. I buy him as anything. Remember when he was in Friends? Do you remember that?
Yes, I do remember him being in Friends. I don't remember when, but I do remember him in Friends.
He was Joey was working on a set, and he was like the greatest actor ever. Uh-huh. And he was telling him the secret of being a great actor was to spit in the other guy's face.
Oh yeah.
So Gary Oldman has done action. He has done comedy. He has done drama. Yep. He has done pretty much anything under the sun, and he has nailed it pretty much every single time.
Did you know he also was in Knots Landing?
No, because I don't remember Knots Landing.
Yeah.
It sounds like something my mother would have watched.
He was in Bram Stoker's Dracula, though, and that was
people like him for Dracula. I'm not sure that I actually saw it, or either I saw it and I don't remember it. But a lot of people love him in Dracula.
Yep. Air Force One. I mean, wow.
Yep, he was a terrorist.
I mean,
I bought him as a terrorist, and he was like Ukrainian or something. In every movie, he's everything but British.
Isn't that what all British actors do? Like,
they play everything but who they are.
Like who is it? Like Idris Elba? Like he does that too, right? Like he hasn't played a British person.
No, he has Luther. He's British. Yeah, it's like a crime TV show. He's like a detective.
Oh wait, it's not. It's not
a movie.
No, it's not. What's the dang show called that everybody's like? The Wire. Isn't it like everybody and their mother like always talks about, because he was in there in The Wire.
Yeah, probably everybody's been in The Wire.
Yeah, but I mean, like that's like the show. Everybody's like, you gotta watch The Wire. That's like the
Yeah, I think I started watching the first episode and then I didn't finish it.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I saw the first couple episodes. I'm like, it's kind of cool, but like it's a little raw. But I'm like, But he was in Red Riding Hood. Would have never guessed that one.
I don't know what that is.
I don't know. So I guess it's some, movie 2011. He was in Kung Fu Panda. He was in
Gary Oldman?
Gary Oldman was in Kung Fu Panda Part 2.
So you're telling me that British old guy Gary Oldman played a cartoon character in a movie about Kung Fu?
You're absolutely correct, sir.
You're making my case. Greatest actor ever. I know Jackie Chan was in the original Kung Fu Panda, and that makes total sense. Does it make sense for Gary Oldman to be in any Kung Fu Panda? Absolutely not. And they were like, yeah, this works. Greatest actor alive.
What are you talking about? Jackie Chan was also in the Karate Kid, which, of course, he knew karate.
I like the Karate Kid. Did you know that Gary Oldman was in the Karate Kid?
No, he was not in the Karate Kid.
He's that good of an actor. They didn't give him a credit for it. They didn't even know he was in the movie.
Was he the referee?
He was the little Chinese kid who was beating up Will Smith's son. They were like, "Oh shit, that's Gary Oldman."
Oh, who would have thought that one? Gary Oldman. All right. I guess that's definitely something I was definitely not expecting. But not to say that you are incorrect as saying that he's one of the top actors of all time, because he is. Because again, this goes back to the whole blending thing, range, gravitas.
Character actor. He's played so many different characters. I don't know how he doesn't get more love from people.
Yeah. So your number one's Gary Oldman. Not my number one. Again, another gimme.
Should also be Gary Oldman.
Unfortunately, is not Gary Oldman.
Half the movies that you're giving Tom Cruise credit for was Gary Oldman as Tom Cruise. You don't even realize it.
So what you're telling me is Gary Oldman is the new Chuck Norris. Is that what you're saying?
Gary Oldman is everywhere. You just don't know it.
Gary Oldman. Gary Oldman does push-ups. He pushes the world down as he goes up. My number one, again, a gimme, is going to be Mr. Tom Hanks, because he was in your honorable mentions all the way through. I loved him in the old school movies. I think a Bachelor Party was one of my favorites. Big. I mean, the list goes on, man. I mean, there hasn't been a movie that I've seen from Tom Hanks that I'm like, no. Everything I just see from him is just.
Did you see The Greyhound?
I have not checked it out yet, actually, because I don't have Apple TV, or I don't have Apple TV subscription. I should probably just download it. But I have not.
I could watch it, but I haven't watched it yet. Only because it looks just like a very pedestrian war movie. And I'm sure there's like older people like, yeah, that was what the war was like. Get him.
Go.
Tom Hanks saves the day again. Yay.
Yeah, all the time, man. He saves the day all the time. I mean,
Well, I think the last Hanks movie I saw was Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood.
Oh yeah. I saw that. I that wasn't my favorite performance of his, only because I felt that. I mean, I guess watching Mr. Rogers or watching Daniel Tiger, which is kind of like this. I don't want to say a spinoff, but I mean, because we watch it all the time for our son. But I think that the way that he portrayed Mr. Rogers was a little. Again, it kind of felt a little creepy, but at the same time, I think that's how he really acted back then. Don't know. Never.
If you watch the Actors Roundtable, which has Adam Sandler, Robert De Niro, Tom Hanks, Shia LaBeouf,
why is Shia
Amy
LaBeouf
Fox?
in there?
Did you see that one?
No, but why is Shia LaBeouf in there? Like, for real? Like,
boy that plays Kylo Ren. What's his name?
Adam
Driver.
Adam Driver. Yeah.
They're all in that Actors Roundtable on Hollywood. He kind of explains. He talks about the Mr. Rogers character, and like why he understood that Mr. Rogers kind of comes off like that, like kind of creepy-ish.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, the movie's really not about Mr. Rogers.
It's not.
The movie is more about the reporter.
Right.
And the reporter's perspective is everybody's perspective. Like, you seem too good to be true. You seem kind of creepy, like you're just trying to get the children. And he's basically trying to figure out, like, what's his angle. Like, you're doing all this to lure children or something.
Right.
And Tom Hanks is basically like, I did all the research in the world about this guy, and he was just a godly guy. He was a minister, but he never ever said the word God, because he didn't want his message to get lost. Even though he's reaching 2- and 3-year-olds, he felt like that was the best place to start, because they had the most open minds and things like that. So it was very easy for guys like this reporter to say something's wrong, because they had that cynical point of view.
Sure. So that's our list, guys. Thank you guys so much for listening. I know that it was a little bit winded, but we got through it. If you guys liked what you hear, please go ahead and subscribe. Hit that like button. Follow us on social media at what's your _5. That's the number 5. And if you have any topics that you guys want to discuss, or if you guys want to be a part of the show, please let us know at topics@whatsyour5.com. My name is Rodel. That's Anthony. Have a great night.
This is Gary Oldman playing Anthony. I'm that good.
See you later.